Hello? All right. I think we're doing this. All right. Well, we're just going to get right into it. Um, I already confirmed that the PlayStation power's on, and I'll get a nice good view of this and get focus. See, there's just a little chip in the HDMI port in there. So we're going to swap out the port today, and that's going to be that. We're going to check the liquid metal, make sure it's nice and clean inside. So we're just going to get right into it. Let me just kind of adjust here a little bit. There we go. If you have any questions, just let me know, and I'll just kind of be talking through this process. PS5 Slim is really easy to pop open. Literally just grab it right here, and then the tabs kind of open this way. There we go. Just boop, straight like that. Just gonna move these off to the side for now. Disk drive just comes straight out like that. Super easy. Just gonna wipe this stuff off as I bring it out, just because I want to put it back together nice and clean. I don't want it to be all dirty and gross when we're giving it back to the client. Actually, just gonna put this over here for now. All right. And then I'm gonna use my air compressor real quick just to blow off some of this dust. I'm gonna turn off my air compressor because that thing gets really loud. There's just this little, on the PS5 Slim, this little sticker. I'm just gonna stick it there for now. And then we're also gonna peel up this sticker. There's a Torx bit hiding underneath here. Come on. There we go. One here, then there's just a bunch around here. This is just a Phillips screw over here. Just gonna pop this plate off real quick. Pretty much any Phillips bit will do. Phillips 1 or 0 is a good one. So 00 works fine too. It doesn't really matter. And then this connector right here, this one you got to be really careful with. It's really easy to break the fan connector in here. So we're just going to grab all the cables just like this. Maybe I can get a better view. Grab all the cables just like this all at once and then just lift straight out. It's super easy to pull out if you do it right. And then there's just 4 bits. Just going to pull these out real quick. Just like that. That fan is dusty. Very, very dusty fan. I'm just going to brush it out a little bit. Just get the major clumps out. Then I'll hit it with my air compressor just to kind of finish it up. Very dusty. Yeah, you can see it's like all up in there too. Just going to blast it with the air compressor real quick. That'll get most of it. We don't have to be super detailed with it. I mean, you're not going to get every fleck of dust, but honestly, I mean, that looks so much better now than it did before. Just going to quickly spot check some of these other things. Yeah, honestly, this looks great. I'm not too worried about the little bits. Set that to the side for now. And then because these all have varying sizes and lengths, I'm not even gonna mess with pulling them out. I'm gonna leave them in the frame and pull them all out at the same time. That way I don't forget which goes where. I don't even have to think about it. It's less steps. Come on. There we go. And then once they're all done, it's going to lift up and all the screws are just going to be, oh, there we go. All the screws are just going to be dangling in here, but you're not going to forget which one goes where because they're not coming out. Again, just going to hit an air duster with this a little bit. Just get the big pieces of dust out because gross. Oh, there's a dead fly. Big old dead fly in there. Better roaches though. I'm okay with the fly. Goodbye. Yeah, you can see up in here, got a lot of stuff accumulating in the cooling vents. So definitely gonna want to hit that. But next step is just pulling these two little guys and then unwrapping this. This can just set off to the side for now. I am actually going to, because I want to pull the whole board out all at once, I'm going to pull off these plates too, so that we can undo the two power supply screws in the back. That'll allow this entire board to lift out, and we can really clean the power supply while we're in here. It's not necessary for the fix, but at the end of the day, I want to make sure that whenever I'm doing these, it ends up nice and clean whenever it goes back. People are less likely to bring it back for thermal issues. There we go. Same dealio here. I'm just going to leave the screws in here. Why not? Set that off to the side. And now this one, this is a weird one. So it isn't. It is a ZIF connector, but it's not like any other ZIF connector and pretty much anything else. We're just going to push this down and out very gently. And then we're going to grab nice and firmly on this here, and then just pull straight out. Boom, just like that. It was definitely really weird the first couple of times I did it, but as long as you're careful, you're not gonna break it. So I'm gonna pop these two screws out, get the whole board out, do a nice little dusting in the frame, and then put it back. There we go. And yep, I mean, basically this whole thing's just gonna come straight out. Come on. You're right there. What are you caught on? There's something holding this into the frame here. There might be. I think that one was holding it in the frame. There it goes. Perfect. But now we're going to have really easy access to cleaning out these vents in here, which is really what we want. We're just going to do this now while it's all assembled. So just going to blast it with the air compressor. Big stuff. And we're just going to hit it with a toothbrush. Get the other junk that's in the vents out. Cool. Hit it with the air compressor one more time. Just to get all that loose junk that came out at that point. So I'm actually going to set this to the side. And we're going to focus on just doing a quick little cleaning on the power supply and then the rest of the Rest of the frame here. Same dealio. Just toothbrush. Just give it a nice little, beep, 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 beep. You know, that kind of deal. Just hit all the major exhaust points. Just get any sort of standing dust out. This will definitely extend the longevity of the console significantly, as well as reduce the chance that they're going to have to replace the power supply in the future. Obviously, you can't prevent it, but this definitely helps. So there's not much dust in here, in the frame here, just some kind of in this area and a little bit down here. Again, you know, this is the frame. It's not really going to hurt anything leaving this dust in here, but we're already in here. Might as well clean it. We don't got to spend long on it. Just get the big old clumpies out. That's really what matters. There we go. Yeah, that's probably good. All right. Hit it with air compressor. Just get the little dusties out. Awesome. Now when we go to reassemble it, it's basically already clean at this point, which is half the battle on these things. So I'm just going to go ahead and quickly reassemble it as it was. There's a little clumpy of dusty there. I'm just going to grab that while I noticed it. Some along this back frame. Easy peasy. Lemon breezy. I'm going to drop this back in. Basically just lines up with some of these frame points here. Click it into the power supply. Yep, that looks right. Then we got to flip it over and put these two screws back in. Once you get one in, you can just kind of drop it. There we go. Just going to brush this little bit over here. Bip, bip, bip. Nice and clean. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and pull the main heat shield off of here. This is where the annoying part is where all the screws are. Then I'm going to set all these screws together. It's really easy to tell where the screws are supposed to and not supposed to be, because they have these like etchings in here on every spot that a screw is not. So if you look before you start taking all the screws out, it's really easy to tell that, oh, this one has an etching here, this one has an etching here, etching here, etching here. This one is an exception right here, but pretty much everything else is etched to indicate that, hey, there's not supposed to be a screw there. Usually it's the through screws that come through the top frame here. So really easy way to remember where the screws go and where the screws don't go. So you don't gotta stress about mapping it super neatly. Oops. Oops. Bum, 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 bum. Unscrewing the heat shield. There's so many screws. What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do with all them screws? All them screws inside that fan. Come on, get your drum. Get your drum on my love. My love is there. Anyway. These are all the same size screws, so again, it doesn't really matter where they go. As long as they all go back in. That's the goal. Almost done. Just got a handful left. Using a drill really does make this easy. I didn't mention it, but I use I think this is T8-bit or T9-bit. Either one's going to work just fine. But I got a specialized set of bits for my drill. I don't use the stuff that comes with my kit just because these are a little bit bigger. They're a little bit more robust. I just prefer them a little bit more. Now for the slim, I'm going to grab it here, kind of at the base here, and hold it down. You're going to get some resistance, but all that resistance is the thermal putty on some of these components on the board. So really, it's not that big of a deal. Just slowly lift it up, and you're going to be okay. All right. And then there's going to be one screw here, one screw here. Again, it's really easy to know where these go. The board literally labels it with some triangles. So there's a triangle here. Oh, I will actually bring the board a little closer, make that easier to see. The triangle here, and there's a triangle right there as well. So it's really easy to know where these two screws go. So just look at the board. That's all you gotta do. Push these out of the way. And then we are gonna keep these two separate because I don't want to forget. Put these back in the board. Just like that. And then this one is also on the slim, the same here. On some of the older versions like the EDM 010 and the 020, they use Phillips. So, just make sure you're looking. But it's pretty obvious when you get into it. So just going to do slight removal on each side and then fully remove. Now, I'm sure most of you are aware the PS5 uses liquid metal, which is not the same as a standard thermal compound. It's much more annoying to work with, in my opinion. I just don't like working with it. It's just a pain in the butt. But what are you gonna do? That's just part of the gig. Where is my opening tool? Oh, here it is. So some may disagree with this being the correct way, but I find this to be the easiest method of pulling this board out. I look for the power supply prongs on the backside here. I'm going to use a flat side of a standard opening tool for like phones and stuff. I'm going to use the flat side here. I'm just going to get under the corner closest here and then stay as close to this edge here where the grounding plane is visible. There's not really many components or any components, frankly, on the backside of this, so you don't got to be too worried about lifting here, but this gives you a lot of leverage and makes it really easy to pull the board out of the power supply. We're just going to do a little twist like this just to kind of start it. And then I'm going to go around the edge here as well. We want to lift straight up as much as possible because underneath this portion here is the APU, and directly on the back side of that is all the liquid metal, and we don't want that sloshing around or anything while we're pulling the board straight out. The liquid metal actually looks not too bad. This side is definitely starting to oxidize a little bit. It separated a bit, but maybe with just respreading, it'll be okay. We'll get to that later once we're ready to tidy up. But we've got the board out, so we are just about ready to start. We're about ready to start taking the port off, so we're gonna go ahead and do that. You can see here, get a good angle on it. Come on. There we go. Yeah, the plastic is broke here, kind of on this leg area, and we got some split in here. So definitely some sort of impact trauma with it. You see the pins are not play aligned as they should be, so that's okay. That's just part of the deal. I'm going to switch to my microscope. Boop. All right. Got our HDMI here. A little bit easier to see now. Got that leggy that's broken there. So what I'm going to do for this one, let's see here. I'm actually going to I'm going to bring this over here just like that. There we go. And I'm going to be I'm going to be using a little bit of a different tip than I do usually for this one today. I'm going to be trying it. It's a little bit thicker of a tip, but the really, really fine tip that I usually use, it just struggles to hold heat a little bit because it's so small. So we're going to try something a little different, see how it goes. If it sucks, we're going to switch back to the normal one. But I'm going to use this thing as a big switch the cameras. You can see it. I'm going to use this thing just to kind of hold down the board. Nice heavy thing. I use it to hold like phone boards and stuff like that. But it's going to help me hold the board in place as I do this without putting too much pressure on it that I'd be concerned about it. And I'm going to keep it kind of far away from the port in the area that it's not getting too hot. Let's see. All right. I'm going to touch this with a little bit of flux. It's very hot in my garage right now. It is July 3rd, going into July 4th. Happy America Day. And it is currently about 82 degrees in my garage right now. It's very hot out here. But what are you going to do? I am going to, I need to find my low melt. Add some not far from here. Oh, here it is. It was hiding from me. There we go. It's back in focus. There we go. All right. So solder iron's heating up. What I'm going to do, I'm going to use this low melt alloy to help reduce the melting temperature of the legs here because it can be really hard on these PS5s because the boards are so thick to get it to come off. I've got a pretty good rework station, so I can do it without this, but this just makes it easier. So why not? Why not make our jobs easier? Just gonna hit this with the low melt. Try to melt this into the legs a little bit. Our goal is to create a lower melting temperature alloy between the pre-existing solder and the low melt that I'm adding. Low melt has a really, really low melting temperature, and the factory solder has a very, well, not very, very high, but a pretty high melting temperature. And this is all grounding plane around here, which is going to just eat up the heat that we're adding to the board. So rather than overheating the board, we're going to try and lower the temperature of the solder just so that we're not using the rework station on it for quite as long. Up all this factory junk. Yeah, I don't know how much I like this tip. We'll see. We'll see how it goes. I don't want to be a hater too quick. All right. That should help. Didn't really flow super well. That's not that big of a deal. It'll be fine. It should help nonetheless. I'm going to pick up some of this flux because, oh, that low melt was not fully done yet. Clean that up just a little bit. Probably just end up leaving it after redoing this. I don't want to get the low melt on the other components here. That would be not good.
There we go. I think it finally started to melt through there. I'm gonna try and hit the side here. Encourage the solder to float down a little bit.
All right, that should be fine. That should be totally fine. So I'm going to flip the board. I'm actually going to prop up the board kind of at an angle while I do this next step. There we go. I'm going to kind of throw a bunch of flux on in this area just to encourage the flow of solder while we do this next step. I'm going to grab my rework station. I'm going to set it to 4. No. We're going to set it to 480 and full blast. PS5 HDMIs are just difficult to come off. The grounding plane that surrounds them really eats up all the heat in that area, so they just don't come up easy. Which is why we're just gonna blast the shit out of it.
I'm gonna try and focus on hitting the board rather than the port itself, because the board is what we want to get hot. When the board is hot, all the solder that's connected to it will start to heat up and it will flow. The port being hot itself doesn't really matter. We're just going to melt this plastic like we are right here. So it's not really helpful. Perfect. We're starting to see all the solder pop around the legs. I'm going to hit this other side. Try to encourage that as well. Port's not quite ready to come off yet. Getting there. Oh, there we go. Straight off. Easy peasy.
And while the board is hot, I'm going to quickly grab my solder wick and my solder iron. We're going to try and pick up as much of this while the board is hot as we can. Didn't work out super well this time, but that's okay. We have other methods to cleaning this up, which I'm probably just going to do. That's fine. We're just going to leave it as is. Not a big deal. But the port is off, and that's what matters. Easy peasy when you have the right tools and the understanding of how it works. Cool. I'm just moving stuff. I'm going to sit down in my chair. Doing this part while standing up can be just a little bit harder. All right. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit. Might cut off some of the view a little bit, but try to keep it as centered as possible. All right. Now, what I need, I'm going to grab my solder sucker to help clear some of these through holes. But first, I am just going to try and wick some of this up because it is less harsh on the board than, well, I mean, the solder sucker is not like harsh on the board, but it does create this like springiness thing. I don't really like moving the board around a ton while it's super hot. So we're just going to try and avoid that. There we go.
We're going to try and pull up as much solder as we can. Now, normally I would reflow these pins, but I'll be damned. These pins look so clean. The current amount of solder that's on them, I almost don't feel like it's necessary. And we didn't experience any like pad rippage or anything like that. The trauma on the port was fairly minimal. I'm not too concerned about those areas. And I'm all about making less work for ourselves. If we can safely reuse it, why not? We do need to clear these through holes. There's no way to push the port through this. All right, we're just gonna use the solder socket for the rest of it, but we did pick some of it up, which is good. All right. I am just going to clean some of this flux away. So it's a bit easier to see what's going on. Yeah, I couldn't make these pads look this good if I tried. So we're just not even going to touch them. Port came off super, super clean, so I mess with it. What I'm going to do is I am going to use my rework station here. And our goal is to come straight down and create some sort of suction between here while the solder is hot. And that'll suck up all the solder out of there. Make it nice and liquid. Pop. Just like that. I am going to move this little solder ball out of the way. I want that pinging off and getting on something. Heat this area up. Perfect. I just realized there is a little bit solder still in this front one. Touch this one more time. Oh, perfect. I'll hit these left ones. Gotta be really careful with this capacitor right here. Pretty easy to replace, but it is just an extra step, so we're gonna try and avoid it. Actually, gonna switch hands. Get a better angle on this. Cool. First one's cleared. And second one's cleared. Perfect. That's what we like to see. That looks great. Amazing. We're gonna let the board cool just a little bit. I'm gonna clean up with just a little bit more 4041 or 4140A flex remover. But the board is very hot right now just because I was straight blasting it, so I'm gonna give it just a second. All right, probably good now. Grab my cleaning cloth, pump a little bit of cleaner on there. This extra stuff off here. Nice and clean. There's a little bit of whatever on here. Not a big deal. See, can we do it? Board fix tech. Look at that. You can kind of see it when I switch the polarization. Anyway, get back to the soft tone. There we go. Cool. All right. So I'm going to flip the board, make sure the other side looks clean. Should be fine. Not too bad. I'm just going to brush away some of that junk, though. A lot of this stuff that's caked on here is factory flux. This big mound of junk here. Kind of get some of this extra stuff off. That looks great. Much better. I don't want this stuff getting in the way when I'm trying to reflow the posts. So I want it gone. I'll just factory flux and gunk. Get out me post hole. Sir. Goodbye. Thank you. Oh, this looks so much better. There we go. Nice and clean. Nice and clean. Wonderful. I'll just over here. Clean whatever these doodads are on the board. Honestly, tell you. One of them looks like a resistor, maybe a diode, capacitor. Maybe. I don't know. I don't usually have to interact with them, thankfully. So. All right. Just gonna wipe up some of this junk off my bench here. About time I get a new wipe done. This one's not too bad. Well, nice and clean. Perfect. We are ready to install our new port. So just go ahead and readjust here so we can do that. I almost stuck my finger straight on the liquid metal. That would have been gross. Glad I didn't do that. I'm gonna go grab a new port. How many ports do I have? 3. Yeah, for some more. All right.
Go ahead and line that up. And similar to before, we're not going to heat the port. We're trying to heat all of this area around the port because once the grounding plate is hot, all of this solder is going to heat up. And we're just focused on these pins heating up. I don't want to melt all this plastic and stuff that's in the port. It's not a big deal if it a little bit gets a little funky. Not the end of the world, but you want to try and avoid it. So I'm just going to put a little bit of flux. Kind of a lot. That's okay. It ain't gonna hurt it. Same verse or second verse, same as the first, but this time I'm going to come in with my tweezers and just put some gentle pressure down. Just hold it and then hold my hand as steady as I can. Just gonna go back and forth. Instead, aiming at the board, not at the port. I already see some of the port bubbling a little bit on the left side. Plastic there. But you don't want to blast the port with heat. And blast the board instead. Now all of our solder is starting to pop. There we go. We're just going to let it hold, 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 hold just a little longer. And we're good. All right. Every little pin is fully connected to solder. Try and zoom in a little bit. Nice view of that. And what we're going to do is we're just going to, holy shit, board's hot. Going to nudge the pins just ever so slightly. Solid, 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 solid. All right. That's what I call Grucci. We are good. All the pins are nice and attached to the board, which is probably one of the hardest parts of this repair. So that worked out great. I didn't even have to replace the solder on the board. So yippee me, it looks dang near like a factory port. So honestly, probably one of the best ports I've done in a really, really long time, or ever maybe. I don't know. Step next, we're going to flip the board back over. And second verse, same as the first. Going to zoom out a little bit. Cool. You can even see here, the port is ever so slightly back one side. Not my favorite, but it's not going to affect anything. The margin that you see this on a microscope is significantly less than you actually see it when you're looking at the whole board. That is about as thick as my tweezer tong difference. It's pretty negligible. So I'm not too worried about it. All right. What we're going to do now, we're going to dap these areas with just a little bit of flux. Just kind of wet the area. Don't need a ton. We'll grab our solder iron and our new solder wire. I like to use 6337 and this is 0.8 millimeters solder. You can get thinner solder, but you just kind of have to pile it on. This is a great size for globbing on lots of solder. That's what we want to do right now. Hold that there. Doesn't need to look pretty yet. Fix it later. Just trying to attach it right now. Beautiful. Again, I don't really care what it looks like right now. These are kind of gross, but we're gonna fix them, I promise. Hold your horses, everyone. Hold them. Hold them close. Love them. Give them an apple, maybe some hay. Pet their mane, and brush them. Then take them out for a nice trot. Holy crap! That was a big old firework. All right. Boy fix. That looks awful, but we're gonna fix it. So rest assured, it's gonna be okay. We're gonna grab our heat gun in our left hand, dap a little bit of flux all over this, and then we're gonna focus our heat from our heat gun only on this side. We're gonna try to point the gun in this direction because we want to heat up this side, but we don't want to heat up this side, and we don't want to mess with any of the pins that we just fixed on the other side of the port. But we want the solder to flow down with gravity, and we're going to do that by heating up all the solder at once, touching it with the iron, and then it's going to flow down the port and create a nice seal on the post. So that's our goal. So I'm just going to slowly bring in the heat. I'm just going to hold my iron here. It's okay if they touch and mingle a little bit. See, look, it's beautiful. It's nice and pretty. I told you to hold your horses. I hope you did. I hope you held the horses nice and tight. We'll do the same thing on this top post here. Look at that. That is a clean button post right there. I'll hit this first one again. Just nice and hold it. Let solder flow. Pull it away quick. We're going to let that cool. We're going to let that cool for a second before we do the other side. But we're going to do the exact same thing on the other side. But I don't want the whole board to be so hot that the port just falls off, because the port is upside down right now. So if these legs don't attach super well, and if the solder doesn't fully flow through, the port's just going to fall through, and then we're going to have to redo all this work. I don't want to do that. I want to make more work for myself. So we're not going to do that. Slowly come in with heat, angle it outwards, away from the port, bring it down, touch our iron here. Come on. There we go. Beautiful. Pull just a little bit. Second verse, same as the first. Do a little dance with the iron. Perfect. Let all that cool, and hopefully it flowed through properly. We're going to flip the board in just a second to make sure. Look at those posts. Look at those posts. Nice and beautiful. Nice and pretty. That's what we like to see. Now we got like a little bit of staining over here where we're taking away some of the film layers that protect the grounding plane. Not a big deal. It's not going to affect anything. It just doesn't look as pretty, and it makes it obvious that it's been worked on before. Oh, it does. It does make it look obvious. Pull away our weight, and we're going to flip the board. And look at that.
That's what we like to see. You can see the solder has flowed all the way to the top of the post here. That's what we like. That's what we want. Just right so we can see this back one. See, the solder did get up here. I might touch this one up again a little bit. I'm pretty confident though. Like I'm not too worried about it. The other ones look good too. All the way up there. All the way up there. Yeah, I'm gonna send it. That looks great. Ideally, a little bit more comes up, but honestly, that's gonna be a rock solid post. I'm not concerned at all. And if they break the port, well, we're just gonna replace it again. So I'm going to touch this with a little bit of more flux remover just to clean up any excess junk that's left while the board is hot. It's a lot easier to remove flux while the board is warm than it is when the flux is cold. I didn't even have that in the shot. Just staring at it with my eyeballs. It's the brush. Gugaz. Go gigads. Guru guru guru. Get out me swamp. Little flexible whatever's doing here. Get out me swamp. I'm sure this is nothing. Just being over particular about this right now. There we go. I imagine this stuff's non-conductive, but you never know. It'd be silly to leave it in a. There we go. Get out me swamp. Get out me pot. Love that. All right, looks great. I'd say we are probably good to reassemble at this point. This looks amazing. I'm happy with this. Love it. And so we're going to come back here, switch back to phone cam or full cam or what the hell ever. So next we're going to fix the liquid metal. I'm actually gonna adjust the camera a little bit, make this easier to see. All right. This doesn't always work, but we're going to try it. If it doesn't, we're just going to clean it. We're just going to redo it all. But I'm going to take my liquid metal spreader, grab a little bit here on the end, and do nice little circles. We're going to see if the liquid metal starts to catch on this again. Hold up. Wait a minute. Something ain't right. Cool. As I was saying before, I'm going to do these circles to try and push away some of that grossness. We're going to see if the liquid metal starts to catch again. There we go. All right.
Try this again. All right. Yep. It's not working super great. So we're just going to pull it all up and we're going to redo the liquid metal. Not a big deal. It's just extra steps. But for the sake of doing it right, we're going to do it right. I'm going to use my normal Q-tips to just kind of bring all of the liquid metal into one spot. I'm going to do the same thing over here. Our goal is to push all the liquid metal into one little pile. I will show you why. Just a moment. Cool. That'll do, pig. That'll do. I'm going to take my dropper of liquid metal. I'm actually going to use it to suck up the liquid metal that's already there. Just pull a gentle vacuum on it just to lift it all up. Cool. Same thing over here. Nice. All right, we're going to call that good. And then I'm going to take some normal Q-tips. Just going to put a little bit of ISO on them and then use that to kind of bunch up the rest of the liquid metal that I didn't pick up. Liquid metal is isophobic, meaning that, oh yeah, look at that. This is a really dark spot on the die anyway. It's probably good that we respread the liquid metal. Reduce the chances of the client having issues with that in the future. Our goal is to kind of ball up liquid metal, pick it up with the Q-tip if we can. Doing this rotating motion is the most effective I found. Use just a little bit more ISO. Clean up the rest of this. Like a wet and dry side of the Q-tip. It's okay if it kind of does this. We're just going to come back with another one. Always use more Q-tips. Q-tips are cheap and plentiful. But we don't want to leave any of this left in here. We don't want to accidentally leave liquid metal and it gets stuck on a portion of the board. Cool. That should be nice and good. We're going to do the same thing, but on the APU side. I'm less concerned with picking up everything out of the dam, which is this area, this black thing over here. Not as big of a deal. It just needs to be off of the APU's die. That looks nice and clean to me. But we're going to do one last step. I like to use Mother's Mag and aluminum polish. My When I know taught me this method. This is a great and effective way of cleaning the dye on here. We're just going to get a little on a Q-tip. Just going to spread it around. Just spread it around. It's going to lift up all that oxidized liquid metal. Look at that, nice, and look at all that. Yucky. Look at that. Yucky. All that is oxidized liquid metal in the dye. All of that makes it harder for the APU to cool itself. It cannot properly conduct heat through that. Eventually, more and more will collect as the dry spot gets larger. Look at that. Look at that. Disgusting. Now I'm going to use one of my wipes here. I'm going to do like a circle motion, like we're polishing a mirror. Because when this is clean, this should look pretty dang close to a mirror. Look at all that junk that's coming up. The APU is going to be a mirror. This one's going to be look like a dimmed mirror or like a blurred mirror. It doesn't reflect super greatly, but you should be able to see something in the reflection. I'm just going to hit it with another round of Mother's Mag. There's even more stuff coming up. Just like that. That is what we like to see. Usually doing this once or twice is more than enough. Unless it's really, really bad. Just going to hit it with a little bit of ISO. Just to clean off the remaining junk. The cleaner this is, the easier the liquid metal will stick and spread normally. Cool. We will call that good. We're going to do the same process on the APU. APU is fairly clean, so I'm not concerned about it as much, but better to be safe than sorry. I put a little too much on there. Yeah, see, APU is fairly clean. It's not nearly as bad as the sink side was. That looks good. This is why liquid metal is so much more annoying to work with, because there's just extra steps. But if it was normal thermal compound, I could have lacked that up with a stick, just a nice spudger, pushed it all off, hit it with some ISO and a cloth, and repaste that son of a bitch in 30 seconds. It would have been fine. Been totally fine. That's okay. That looks really clean. You can literally see the reflection of things in it, which is amazing. That's what we want. But we're going to call that good. We're going to grab our liquid metal. We're going to put a little dot on this side and another little dot this side. Should be more than enough. We're going to grab our black liquid metal applicator Q-tips. Look at that. That spreads so much nicer now. This is how we want it to spread. Nice and even across the entire surface. That looks beautiful. And do the same thing over here. Edge to edge, corner to corner. Beautiful. I'm putting very minimal pressure, but a little bit of pressure down as I push that into it so that it'll stick to the die and it'll stick to the heat sink. Don't need much, just a little bit, just a little bit of pressure. Rub it all in. Now here's the flop. Straight down. Our cable out of the way. I'm going to push down where the power supply goes. And that looks beautiful. All right. Board is back in. Just going to tuck that cable in. We're going to grab our 2 board screws. Screw those in. Before I do that, we're going to change the camera a little bit. Folios. That'll do. No, it won't. Camera needs to be out of the way. Get out the way. Cool. There we go. Boop. Remember, as I said earlier, we're just looking for the arrows on the board. Tell us exactly where these screws go. Easy speasy. It just fits in just like that. That ain't going nowhere. Bring this guy in. And before we do a full reassembly, I do want to test the port because the PS5 is just kind of annoying to have to take apart, put back together. So I'm just going to put a few of the screws in for the heat plate. Just like one in each corner, really. That's all we need. You can do it without it, but it's going to be fine. That will do. Grab our fan. Come on. Come on. Plug in our fan. Just going to let it rest in here so it can spin freely. I'll rotate this a little bit so that I can connect this to power into an HDMI. Plug it in. Before I do this, I am just going to splash the port with a little bit of ISO, remove any sort of flux that might be remaining in the port or anything like that. Grab my air compressor. All right. I'm going to pull this out. Plug it in. And we have boot. And do we have video out? We have blue light on the monitor. And we have logo. We have logo. I'm just going to do a little wiggle test. Make sure the port is nice and strong, even with a little wiggle. That's beautiful. Light wiggling, nothing crazy. Just little wiggles. Little wiggles. And it should maintain connection the whole time. If we did it right. Which we did. So we're going to call it good. I'm going to hold the power button. So I hear a second beep. That means that the PS5 is turning off properly. Because I don't want to hand back the console and it goes, your console didn't turn off properly. I don't want people to deal with that. So we're just going to let it turn off properly. That way, every time they pick it up, they turn it on immediately. It looks great. So let the fan spin, stop. Fan spin, stop. Unplug it. Unplug it. And we're just going to reassemble. That's pretty much it at this point. I mean, we're just putting it back together at this point, so nothing too crazy. Get this guy out of the way. And we get to spend the next 5 minutes putting in all these god dang screws. Get out the way. What are we at time-wise? Hour 13? Yeah, that's not a bad HDMI time for taking our time and explaining our steps and doing everything. We're not rushing. No need to speed through it and do a poor job. We're going to do it right the first time so it doesn't come back, because I don't like reworks. Once it's fixed, I want it to work perfectly. I don't want to touch it again. I mean, unless you break it again. But I don't want you bringing it back because I messed something up. Because that's just no fun for everyone. Because that means I don't get paid to do it a second time. And you are without your device for even longer. And that's no good. It just leaves a sour taste in everybody's mouth. So we're going to do it right. We're going to do it right the first time. This is the super fun part. It's my favorite part of this entire process. If there's a better way, somebody tell me. I could probably use a smaller thing at this point, but I feel like my standard electric screwdriver just doesn't really have the torque needed to properly screw these in place. They just don't feel solid. So, what are you gonna do? That did not feel right. Remember, we're not filling any of the holes that have the pre-cut lines in them. That means the screw does not go there. At least not these set of screws. Come on. All right. We just got our little shieldy boy here. Beautiful. I'll wrap this around. Line this up. Click on the antennas because we want PlayStation to have internet. Would be sad to have a console without internet. Couldn't play with homies. Playing some Rocket League or whatever, Call of Duty. I like playing Rocket League. Rocket League is one of my favorite games. And Factorio. I really like playing Factorio. Just a couple more screws. It's not too bad, is it? It's not bad at all. Nothing fell out. That's a good sign. Just going to put the fan back in. Put that there. Down she goes. Grab our fan screws. Oh, dropped one, but I found it. Thankfully, it's not a tiny board component, so easy to find. And we're just about done. There's a little bit of dust here that I missed. Not a big deal. This ain't gonna affect anything, but I'm just being particular today. Then these little disk drive flaps go in here. And the disk drive just goes straight down, just like that. We're gonna grab our plates. Just give it a little smacking. click in place. There we go. Same dealio for these guys. And that's about it. I think we're good to go. Wonderful. Well, thank you so much. If you watch this, I hope you learned something. Client has a fresh new HDMI port in there, and it looks great. I am happy to say that this should be good to go at this point. I'm going to leave it here, but thank you so much for hanging out if you watched any of this. And if you have any questions, feel free to email me at drew@boardfixtech.com. I can definitely get you set up with a repair. You can also go to my website at www.boardfixtech.com, and you can submit an estimate request there. I offer mail-away services if you're not located in the state of Indiana. But if you are local to Indiana, hit me up if you're interested in getting something worked on. Phones, computers, laptops, tablets, games, consoles, just about anything suits your fancy. Anything from as simple as screen repairs to advanced board level data recovery. We do it all, so hit me up anytime and we'll definitely get you taken care of. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day. Great day, whatever. Okay, goodbye.